Hey guys, before I let the intro run and get into all of that stuff, content warning. I was not anticipating this, but we will be discussing themes of sexual assault in this episode that's happening in So Bad It's Good month. Again, I'm just as surprised as you are. I will kind of throw up the flag again when we're broaching that part of the review. And if that is not something you can stomach, either skip ahead some. Like I said, I'll be like, okay, we're going to do the thing. And then go, oh, hey, we're done with the thing. I'll mark it with one of the clips that we have. Don't worry. But yeah, so content warning for that. I'll make sure everybody knows where to skip around to. And without further ado, music.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Okay, anyway, it's TNAP Movie Club. Welcome back. It's So Bad It's Good month. It's Vampire's Kiss. Jesus Christ. This shaved like 5 years off of my fucking life. Devin is here.
Time we can't get back.
It was better than Catwoman. At least we're going up.
Oh, absolutely.
And
just, like, my mind feels plagued though. But please continue.
Yeah. Tumors all over. And joining us, our first ever guest on TNAP Movie Club, we have from the Nerdherder Podcast, we got Boop.
Hi, you're welcome, and it's not a tumor. All right.
Doing this review is a terrible job. I just want to say, Boop inspired me to use this for So Bad It's Good month. I had seen you either on the Bird app or in the Discord we're both in make a joke about Vampire's Kiss. And I was on the fence about ever putting it in So Bad It's Good month because it doesn't have a trash ass Rotten Tomatoes score. And I know that there's like debate as like kind of like will it have with my name? Like, is it deeper? Is it dumb type debate? So I was like, I don't know if I want to introduce that kind of discourse into So Bad It's Good month. Because the point is trash ass movies. Like, we gravitate towards stuff that isn't terrible most of the year. And then we do 3 in a row that just causes us psychic damage. 4 if you count the fact that I went from Morbius into So Bad It's Good month.
Jesus.
And I saw Boop talking about it, and I was like, you know what? Not only are we going to do Vampire's Kiss, I was like, we can't do it without Boop. And now, Boop, I have fucking beef with you. I can't.
You didn't before, honestly? Like,
I
have
did
we avoided that to this point?
Yeah,
and
honestly,
also, you say that you saw me talking about it. I will not shut up about this movie. It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Which I get completely. But also,
maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
I have that effect on people.
Yeah. Before we have a word from our lovely sponsor, Sunday's Bloody Mary, and before we give numbers and talk about some shitty log lines. Boop, please plug all of your stuff.
Well, you
And
can
also
find
pronoun
me...
check for anybody watching and listening, and then before comments come in, just so
Yes.
nobody gets that wrong either.
Thank
they
you for
aren't
reminding
familiar.
me. My pronouns are they, she. I'm okay with she, but I prefer they. So just remember that. Other than that, I'm from the Nerdherder Podcast, like Jared said. We talk about Star Wars, but also anything else that, is given to us by divine inspiration. Sometimes we might talk about Legend of Zelda, Transformers, really anything that tickles our fancy. And you can find us on Twitter at NRDHerderCast. You can also find me on Twitter at Bupenheim MEW. You can follow me for my gremlin takes, and there are quite a few.
Absolutely. I unfortunately, because working at a fire hall club during Lent means that if you work on Friday, there's no calling off on a Friday. And I was unable to be a part of y'all's Bat Month, which brought me great pain. I will, however, in the nearest future, be on Nerdherder, and I am counting the seconds to making that appearance. Especially seeing the episode you guys have coming out this week. That's all the
There's going to
sizzle
be a
you'll
lot
get.
of EU takes as well as canon, so get ready.
I cannot wait for my appearance to jump into all that. But before we jump into our review here, you guys know the drill. SundaysBloodyMary.com has the best Bloody Mary gear on the goddamn planet. Spicy Caesar mix. Y'all know that's my jam. In fact, I'm ordering another jar tonight so that I have it for next week or week of when the non-patrons hear this. For the Versus Series stream that Spencer and I are finally doing. They got the mild mix, they got the vegan mix, they have their subscription box service, so you get 2 jars every month. Pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus for your garnishing purposes, and more. So go to sundaysbloodymary.com/shop, use code TNAP, TNAP, at checkout. You get 10% off your order, and you help out your favorite nerds while you do it. Devin!
Sir.
You got some numbers for me.
Of course. So vampires.
Bring me those numbers. Like that
bad.
contract. Bring me those numbers.
1989.
Yes.
Hour 43. Directed by Robert Bierman.
I think Bierman.
Bierman. I thought so. Stars Nicolas Cage, Maria Conchita Alonso, and Jennifer Beals, and Elizabeth Ashley. The movie has a 6 out of 10 on IMDb,
Not high enough.
a 61% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Not high enough.
and a 31 on Metacritic.
Not high enough.
The budget of this film.
Continue.
Okay. The budget of this film is just under $2 million. The box office for the film, $725,131.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So it did not turn a profit.
No.
Even now.
No, not yet.
It's
Not
great.
quite yet. I did a little research myself. Apparently physical copies of this movie are out of print, so it never will turn a profit.
Hey,
Except for
he's from Voodoo, though.
yeah, I was going to say
That's-
maybe our Voodoo rentals pushed it over the line and the box office hasn't updated yet.
We're going to turn a profit for this movie.
I'm
I
worth at least 100,000 of those dollars renting it over and over again because I can't find a physical copy.
people who like make Blu-rays for movies that are out of print, just send Boop one, please.
Please,
Send them.
I
one.
beg of you. Get it signed by
Deserves
Nicolas
it.
Cage.
Yes.
Make him lick it. No.
You got like thrift stores and garage sales, and outside of that,
Oh,
Yeah,
you know
well,
people got to be trying to flip those for like a pretty penny too. Devin,
my log line, sir.
hit me with a log line.
All right, Vampire's Kiss. It's all real. or it's all real bad.
Mm,
Ooh.
I like that one.
Thank you. Want me to just rattle
Vampire's
them off?
Kiss.
Okay, good.
Vampire's Kiss. Will suck your blood. And this extended metaphor sucks just as much.
Nice.
Bruce,
Vampire.
I kind of put you on the spot. Do you have a log line?
I do, because it's my
Okay.
favorite line in the entire movie. Vampire's Kiss. Holy shit.
Nice.
Listen, this movie has some spectacular dialogue just sprinkled throughout.
It does. I was going to say, my next log line was also a quote. Vampire's Kiss. God damn you, fuck your mind, cocksucker. Marvelous line of dialogue there. There's some beautiful swears in this movie.
Definitely.
And I was so impressed by some of it. Devin, do you have any more before we
I do.
Okay.
Vampire's Kiss. An actor's decisions. And then I have one more.
Okay.
Vampire's Kiss. The funny, the shitty, and the absolute dog water.
Ooh, we're bringing dog water in here. Okay.
I have a hard time talking about and remembering this movie.
Oh, that's why I'm here, buddy.
Literally, Devin and I
burned.
literally watched it 12 hours ago.
I've seen it so
we
many
are
times.
still in its wake. We are still very much in its wake. And I want to say, like I said on Twitter, I see what this movie is going for. Like, I finished the movie. I went inside. I had like 20 minutes before I had to go to work, and I just kind of sat there and I pondered the orb, as it were. You know, I just kind of thought about the movie, and I was like, okay, I get it. And there is like you can have a very philosophically deep conversation about this movie. You really can. You could. It's also terrible. And it does not quite stick the landing with what it's trying to portray. And I found this one video and I sent it to Devin and I watched it myself. It was on YouTube. Someone did a like highlights of the audio commentary track that is just the director and Nick Cage. And most of it is the director going to Nick Cage and going, "Why'd you do that?" And Nick Cage basically going, "Felt right." And like Nick Cage acknowledging the fact that he is making decisions, and again to take a shot every time you hear it, like you would have heard in the audio commentary track. Devin and I asked the question many times: Is this a decision Nick Cage has made as an actor, or did the director say, "Do this"? And after listening to that audio commentary highlight reel, I am happy to report to you that it seems like 99.99999% of this shit is Nick Cage making decisions. And
Bless.
I am stunned. Devin had the revelation. The audio commentary track isn't out yet. I have to edit it because we took a bathroom break. And there's just like 5 minutes of dead air because of that. But Devin, and this won't make it into the audio commentary track because it's before we started back up. Devin had the realization that this came out barely a year before leaving Las Vegas that scored Nick Cage a Golden Globe, a SAG Award, and an Oscar. In one award season. He had the fucking
No, it was
hat
a cat.
trick.
Yeah. Never mind. You're right. Yeah.
he had the hat trick, and it came off of the heels of this butt ass movie that, again, like, it's trying to be, I think it's trying to be a critique about capitalism and patriarchy and like this psychological thriller that's like using like different tactics than other movies like this. And it's and there's genius in there. And then it just kind of falls flat on its face with the thing that we have a content warning about, but we're going to save talking all about that scene for its own section so we can get all of the discourse about that done in one spot and bookend it that way. We're not there yet. I've been talking for a minute. Our lovely guest, Boop, please elaborate on why you love this movie aside from the obvious.
It wasn't entirely obvious to me until I watched it was one of those GQ interviews with Nicolas Cage, which Nicolas Cage is my favorite actor. I completely acknowledge and truthfully say that he is 100% my favorite actor for a multitude of reasons. I love the choices that he makes. And he was talking about his love of German Expressionism film. And if you're not familiar with what German Expressionism is, it's this larger-than-life portrayal of different... It's mostly used in horror stories like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Nosferatu is German Expressionism. And he was talking about exactly how much that influences the choices he makes in acting. And as someone who is a huge fan of silent film, I see a lot of those roots in his performance in Vampire's Kiss, especially in the last 20 minutes of the movie, which is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like, just because of how freaking insane it is. Mm-hmm. Like, apart from the content warning part. But yeah, when shit hits the fan, it goes nuts, and I am completely 100% there for it. Because I love stuff like that. Like, this is my perfect movie in a lot of ways. Like, it's, like you said, it's genius. It's got such interesting dialogue to it. It's got a lot of fun swears to it, but it's also garbage. And I love garbage so much. Because campy movies is where I live, and it's where I've made my home in my film opinions. I don't like film, I like movies, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. I get that 1,000,000,000%. And I think that is the ultimate, like, broke versus woke opinion of all time, is like the inverse of what you just said is the broke one. And your version is, in fact, the woke one. No, yeah, absolutely. And like, there's even one moment where like Nick Cage like recreates a shot from Nosferatu, where like there's that moment where he's just like over his shoulder, and it's like, okay, that's clever, that's cool, I dig it. And we're not going to talk about that scene yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Devin. Talk to me about this movie.
I also see what the movie was trying to do. I had written down early on in the movie, as soon as Rachel had come back the first time, I had written down the dynamic of a reoccurring vampire to like suck someone's blood who seemingly likes it is like nothing I've ever seen before. Like, totally different take on like what a vampire and like a vampire's victim / apprentice, whatever you want to call it, next of kin, like an actual relationship there. And I don't know, I was just like, this is kind of cool conceptually, because I was like, where's this gonna go? Like, are they going to kill people together? Is this really like vampires? Is this really happening? Is she going to end up killing him? Is he going to end up killing her? I was just like, how crazy is he, along with the fact that he might have just turned into a vampire?
No, that's a great point. And we both said that, like, when Alva, is the name of the
Yeah.
secretary.
Yeah.
Alva.
Cool. Alva, whatever, like his perpetual harassment of her just reaches a fever pitch, which again becomes like there's some really funny shit that happens there that becomes way harder to be entertained by.
Yeah.
But Devin, you and I said, I was like, okay, is he just fucking crazy? Like, is he fucking nuts, or is he becoming a vampire and that's making him nuts? And like
Yeah.
the line between is he crazy or is this the vampirism gets blurred a lot. And I think the movie has a really, again, singing its praise, it does a really good job of leaving us on the limb, dangling on the thread of he's acting weird, but he could also very well slowly be turning. And the moment that the movie makes us watch him engage in a delusion, I think that is one of the best choices that was made on the side of the writer and the director to have him do my reflection, where am I, and like have us be like, what are you talking about, like looking at his reflection while he's saying it's gone. Like that was brilliant. And the fact that that's immediately followed up by him like just randomly hallucinating the taxi driver and his wife, like that was really cool and a really clever decision. And again, part of me wants to say I don't want to change a second of this movie other than the one thing for the sake of maintaining how fucking funny it is. But there's a part of me that's like, you could like this premise could soar. You know, like if you really, really, truly committed to convincing the audience that he is in fact turning into a vampire, and that Jennifer Beals is real, and of all of these things, and then in the final moments of the movie, peel back the curtain and let us see how fucking delusional he is. You know, I think they could have stuck the landing a little bit better. And again, part of that's also the decisions Nick Cage makes as an actor. But I think this movie falls into relative obscurity without Nick Cage doing the shit he's doing.
Absolutely.
And this movie does truly maintain a niche place in pop culture, but is so prominent only because of Nick Cage's performance. And again, like and there's so much to unpack here. You know, how we see from the first moments of the movie, he's this womanizing, you know, kind of a more meta Patrick Bateman is, I think, a good way to describe it. Devin, you also made an American Psycho joke, which was apt. It's Bateman cranked up to fucking 30 and played only the way that Cage could do it. And there is an element there that I think is really funny where you begin with, again, establishing him as this womanizer, this man who works too hard, this man who's obsessed with his work, somebody who takes great pride in their status, who thrives on status symbols. You know, at no point in this movie is he not dressed to the nines. Like, even when he's off the clock, you know, even when he's just bringing non-existent Rachel her coffee, he's in this very nice ornate robe. And, you know, like he, at no point is he ever slouchy, except from the end, but extenuating circumstances slouched him up.
It's understandable. He's going through some stuff.
I'll throw him above. But he was still in a suit and tie. Like, even when he was disheveled as shit, he was still, you know, full, you know, business attire. And there's a lot to talk about how that kind of like late stage capitalist nightmare will drive you fucking crazy and suck out your soul. And how the archetype of the vampire has always been, aside from some of its anti-Semitic trope roots that aren't really present here, and not really relevant besides just bringing up that they exist, that you have the the aristocratic vampire who's literally sucking the life out of the proletariat. Like there's a lot of class theory. There's a lot of Jungian archetype shit here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same movie that has A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. And I'm not even going to finish it because I don't have it in me to finish the alphabet. Nick Cage did. I didn't. I stopped halfway through.
He did do that.
He did do that. He commits. He absolutely commits. The only person who could surpass Scotty J. Rowe in bit committal. That's for you, babe. Scotty watches. No, he doesn't.
No. He's busy.
He's busy. Studying, coward. Devin only has the cliff notes of my arch rivalry with Scotty, which is going to be made even funnier when they come on for Phantom Menace and Star Wars month.
Hey man, I've taken myself out of that race.
I know.
I paid your penance.
I know. I paid my penance, and I'm on my revenge tour. But yeah, and like even there's even like commentary here about how like elements of like toxic masculinity hurt men just as much as it hurts women and anybody else that's like that is affected by that like men drive themselves fucking crazy with like these weird standards that shouldn't really exist. It's so there's a lot here. Yeah. There's a lot here to unpack, like up to and including the way that he's so afraid of commitment, and how he, within moments of like fantasizing his perfect woman, he makes her fucking leave him. Like yeah, oh my God. But it's also right next to the most batshit crazy dialogue and acting and, some wild ass editing. Devin and I both were laughing about him teleporting whenever the bat attacks them in the bedroom. Or they're in the living room and then miraculously he's in his bed the next room over. And
do you think to show that do you think that it was to show that it affected him at a later point in time too? Like later he had woken up from like a nightmare to the bat and then it like went right back. I don't know. I'm really reaching. However,
excellent point. I think it might be too much. I think it was just bad editing.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I think this might be the first episode where Devin out English teachered me.
I don't remember what I said.
No, like what you just said right now.
Oh, cool.
That like maybe that was a deliberate choice to demonstrate. And it's like, no, they just didn't no idea how to edit this movie. Also, speaking of editing, I said this in the audio commentary, and I'm going to say it here. And I want to preface it with this. I am not criticizing Jennifer Beals for not wanting to be full titty.
Not at all.
That was her decision, and I have no problem with it. They needed to reframe that shot so that every time she moved around, you couldn't see the pasties.
Yeah, they did not do a good job hiding those.
It was distracting. Even though I was like incredibly uncomfortable with all of the like Nick Cage dry humping, and I even made a joke during the first sex scene where I was like, "Oh, okay, I wasn't expecting a titty. Cool." Which should have been my first warning.
I wanted you to go in completely blind.
I know. I'm glad you did. I'm glad that you made that decision. But like, I was just like, but I remember because I had a moment where I was like squinting at my screen because I'm like, oh, like that's just the pasty, and now I can't stop looking at the pasty.
That's not a titty.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like a damn you, Jennifer Beals. Let me see your boobies. No, like that wasn't it. It was just production. Move the camera. It's very, you can see the wires during a stunt performance type thing. Neither here nor there. That was just so distracting. Devin, what are we gonna say?
I have a question for Boop.
Mhm.
Since you've seen the movie more times than I ever will, because I will never watch this movie again.
Pussy.
The scene where they're in the nightclub at the end of the movie,
Yes.
and Nick Cage.
God. Okay.
And Nick Cage is getting escorted out of the club. So the post altercation between Rachel and that like dude that she was with, whatever. He's like reprimanded, getting removed from the club, and like you see him getting kicked out, and at the very end it cuts right back to them and they share a look.
Mm-hmm.
That's like final minute of Inception level of like it's like what, I don't know. A part of me was like, holy shit, like maybe she totally knows something. She 100%, like they definitely hooked up or know each
I
other.
hate
or
to
some
enable
way.
you right now, but one other piece of evidence you brought up earlier that you didn't mention is that she gets defensive when Peter brings up her teeth.
Yeah, and like immediate thought at first was kind of just like I was looking. It was kind of weird. I was kind of like staring at her teeth whenever he said that because I was just like, are they fucked up? That's like, is she insecure about her teeth? I was like, is there a longer like canines and then no. So but then like they started like, I don't know. He was like pushing her face and shit, and I was just like, okay, I understand why she would be distraught now. But like, and then they share the look.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck's that look about, Boop?
I am a believer that Rachel doesn't exist, personally. I think
Wait,
that,
like it all?
like at all. I don't think that she exists in the slightest. I think that she is 100% delusion. Maybe Nick Cage hooked up with someone that night. I call him, maybe Peter hooked up with someone that night, but I do not think that Rachel exists, personally. Because of, we see later in the movie, he can just straight up make up a woman to be the perfect woman for him, and with, dialogue and an entire relationship in 10 minutes. But yeah, I think that was just some random lady, and he projected onto her, Rachel.
Okay, so that was a clarification I wanted to make. Like, when we talk about Rachel existing or not, to talk about a movie that I don't think is terribly dissimilar, it's kind of like Zazie Beetz' character in Joker.
Yeah.
We're like real fucking person,
Yes.
but Arthur just fictionalizes this entire relationship with her.
Yes.
But like, she was based on a real person that he met.
Well, you could call it into the theory that no one exists in your dreams that you haven't seen before. He very well could have passed Rachel, or hey, maybe she was the lady that he went home with that night. But after that night, maybe she gave him a nibble on the neck, like you do. But after that, she leaves early in the morning, and because of that, he's not used to being the one left. He just makes up an entire relationship with her.
Okay, we're on the same wavelength then. Because I thought you were about to be like he sees her at the bar and then that's it. And then he extrapolates whole cloth everything else. Because my interpretation was that they do hook up, and that kind of, as it's alluded to, again, a level of attention to detail with the dialogue in a movie that has the, I didn't misspell anything. Not once, not one time. I lost my headphones doing that. But the same movie that has that kind of dialogue also demands that you pay enough attention to the dialogue to notice the shrink going, hey, you've been ending the sessions early. I feel like there's like an insecurity here about that. Like, she doesn't even finish that sentence. Like, you need to really consider the dialogue there. And the fact that we had to do this audio commentary twice because we only had a half hour in and then had technical difficulties last night is the only reason why I honed in on that line and after hearing it a second time.
And if you consider how many of the visits with the shrinks are actually real, how many of them are just his internal monologue?
There's that as well. So when you set up that, like, you're ending this early, establishing that he has a control issue, do you have someone who is so strung out from work, who has so many issues with intimacy, who has so many problems with their own self-image, again, the definitely a hallucination, flight of fancy Rachel that quote unquote breaks up with Peter, says some nasty shit to him. But if that all exists inside his head, that's his own internal. He's saying that about himself. He's calling himself pathetic. He's calling himself worthless. So he has all this shit going on that makes him snap. I also saw, again, doing a little bit of Googling and looking around the interwebs, and I think this is interesting, that maybe, and Boop, you had brought up the possibility that, like, maybe while they were having sex, she may have even just bit his neck. And that, like, she may have, like, asserted some level of dominance while they were intimate that also kind of broke his fucking brain.
I think he, because I remember pointing it out last night, and I'm so happy you caught that line, because I think I was, like, buffering hardcore before we called it quits, and I only remember hearing that line once. And, like, yeah, I think Nicolas Cage is ED in this movie for sure. I do think that she bit him on the neck, and I think due to him being like, yes, so-and-so, like, I think he, like, orgasmed and then, like, completely had, like, a meltdown. I think, like, things with Rachel after that got bad. I think he was, like, probably, like, embarrassed and, like, subconsciously chooses to remember it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that could have happened to me. There's no fucking way. Oh, she bit my neck. Obviously, I'm just a vampire.
Of course. Like, that's the logical leap,
It's like the Twitter joke. Men would rather become a vampire than get therapy.
Yeah.
Tweet that right now.
Do it from the TNAP Twitter. See, there's another log line. That's my problem, is that I come up with a joke off the cuff, like 30 minutes into the review, that I should have done as a log line. One moment. Any of you... I think this is a good place to segue into the content warning section.
Yes.
So, any other thoughts before we move in there? And also, will I buy myself time to make that tweet?
In order to buy yourself time, what's up with this fucking accent? I've seen this movie so many times, and I cannot figure out where it's... I think it's like a mix of a transatlantic accent mixed with a quasi-Germanic accent, maybe? Or it's just a yuppie accent? I don't know. Maybe he's doing an impression of what he thought Patrick Bateman would sound like.
So,
It does have like a pretentious way of like speaking.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe I'm taking home a girl from the phone company.
I brought that up.
Ports.
I also brought up a cocktail of Brit and Surfer Bro.
Yes.
Was like how I described it and what I landed on. And Devin, I made a very specific comparison almost at the end of the movie, and I can't remember what I said in the audio commentary. But I made a
sounded like?
Yeah. Like I landed on like a specific individual, either a character or a real person. I went, that's who he sounds like. But surfer bro and dumb.
We gotta look that up.
He
But yeah,
sounds
and again,
kind of oh man, he sounds like he's doing a bad impression of Bela Lugosi sometimes too.
That's a good one as well. That's a good one as well. I'm trying to find a good bumper clip.
Give it down.
I didn't mean to play that one. That's the Patreon one. Oh man. Okay. From this bitch to this bitch, because it's the only one. It's the only one that doesn't either have a bad person in it or is normally used for positive comedic effect. And I have nothing else. And I don't feel comfortable having Cookie Cop be the bumper. Note to self, make a content warning slide for the future. And you learn these things while you work. From this bitch to this bitch will be discussion of the not fun stuff. So scrub the YouTube video, and when you see it happen a second time, you're good to pop back in. So
This bitch.
okay. You can completely remove the fucking rape.
You could
The
absolutely.
first fucking thing, like the moment the credits started rolling, aside from being slightly seduced by Jennifer Beals, I'm no better.
Understandable.
I'll bite a motherfucker. Tweet that too. You could very easily. And how do you say the secretary's name again?
Alva.
Every time I'm hearing Cage's voice say it, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right because the goofy accent. Okay. You could very easily have it be that he vampire kills Alva.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can skip the assault, have it be that he attacks her, like just the goofy ass chase, attacks her, bites her, and either have her be the only person that he kills, or he kills her and then he kills the chick at the nightclub. I think you can very easily have both, or you just have Alva be the one kill, and then you have it be that her brother's like, oh my God, she was talking about her crazy ass boss. Holy shit, her crazy ass boss killed her. And then there's this idiot running around screaming, oh, vampire! Going down the street. And there's a very logical leap that, oh, I'm going to go fucking kill this guy now. Like, you can have the movie end the exact same way with her brother killing Peter and whatever. Here's my thing. I am not going to make a blanket statement as to whether or not you can or should depict sexual assault in media. I don't have the pedigree of media analysis to try to make a statement that broad. I also don't have I fortunately don't have the lived experience to speak on behalf of people who could very easily and quickly be unnerved by a scene like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they make a good decision by... I think they made an interesting decision artistically with having it by baiting us into thinking he's been in his office the whole time having sex with Rachel, to then just cut to Alva on the floor. And it's like, okay, we jumped over all that. We got deceived as the audience as well. And then we see what's actually happening. Interesting decision, and one that I will stop just short of full-throatedly praising, because there's so much weird shit going on in this movie. Like the stuff that we have been joking about. I didn't misspell anything, not once, not one time. The alphabet. I found you. All of the shit that is like so iconically memed and hilarious. That is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
This like the movie goes from like the ultimate is this great or is this terrible, really scary moment leading up to the assault, the sudden realization that he raped her,
Yeah.
and then we're back to him running around screaming, putting plastic teeth in his mouth, doing all this goofy shit. You know, it is a very serious, dark moment that is sandwiched in between some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in a movie in my life. And after listening to the audio commentary track highlight reel from the director and from Cage, it became clear to me that Nick Cage and the director were in on the joke.
Mm-hmm.
That Nick Cage was doing wild shit, and he knew he was doing wild shit. You know, this wasn't a Tommy Wiseau situation where he was convinced that he was going to win a, you know, best leading actor in a motion picture Oscar. You know, he was not deluding himself. He knew his performance was batshit crazy, and the director encouraged it, and that's fine. I think it was, and again, it was a different era. We don't, you know, the conversations that you responsibly should have weren't being had at the time. So like, I get it. And it's not something that I'm like going to say this movie is beyond reproach for. However, I think it's really hard to stomach because you jump again from Crazy Eyes and all of these sight gags and the crazy ass dialogue, that scene, and now he's buying plastic teeth and crawling around on the floor. And it's so hard to juxtapose those things. And especially when you follow it up with like in between every scene of him doing something ridiculous, we cut back to her curled up in bed with this giant shiner on half of her face, weeping, sobbing, hysterical. And it just became really hard to process. And there's a level of intention with the absurdity that has been made clear to me that makes it really hard to square those things. And as I said in the audio commentary, I was like, my ability to laugh at this movie just got shot in the fucking leg. Because every time Nick Cage does something hysterical, we cut back to Alva sobbing in the wake of being sexually assaulted. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like I didn't know what to do with myself. I've been ranting and raving. I give the floor to anybody who would like to follow up.
Well, like you said, it was a hell of a choice to put that in, and the movie could be completely the same without it. I'll be honest, most of the times when I watch the movie, I skip over that part because it is uncomfortable. Like it makes you feel icky to watch. And you know what? It's not necessary. And I think that it was put in specifically for shock value, which, like you said, it was a different era, and that doesn't justify it.
No.
That doesn't, I'm not making excuses for this movie, even though, it is a movie that I enjoy watching. Like, there are moments that are just incredibly unsettling, like that scene, and like the girl in the club that he killed. That movie is there. That scene is uncomfortable, and like it's just
Yeah, and I think the discomfort that comes with his murder in the nightclub is more tonally consistent with the rest of the movie. And like there isn't a moment where you can argue that it should be removed. I think anybody would have a much easier time going to bat for that scene.
Yes.
than going to bat for what happens at the office. Because, like you said, again, and I'm glad you said that, because I agree with you, not making excuses. It's one of those things where it doesn't make it okay. It doesn't change the fact that it aged like milk. But looking at its original expiration date helps add context and have a comprehensive conversation about that. And I'm glad you made me make that clarification, because I wouldn't have otherwise. It's God damn it. Like, I don't know what to do with this movie.
That's fair.
Like, I and because again, there's just so much funny shit. And the movie can be changed if you change it, if you move it. Again, have him just fucking kill her. It I don't know. It gives somebody an excuse to kill Peter, and there's a whole other conversation about like the fridging happening there as well, which again, like, we weren't having those types of conversations back then with our media of like, we're just going to have something terrible happen to a woman so that like the man the man in her life can commit some type of like hyper violent retributive justice in her name. Which again, old tropes age like milk. We're having these conversations about these tropes because we are trying to understand our art and our media better. But yeah, I truly don't think it was necessary. And it made the things that make this movie so great less fun to watch. I think that I think a version of this movie that goes to greater lengths to stay grounded and serious and Peter does not try to frame Peter as being a clown and treats him like someone who is incredibly unstable and dangerous and terrifying. I'm not saying it's a good decision to keep it in, because again, that's the kind of blanket statement I don't feel qualified to make. But I think you have an easier time justifying it. I think I have a much easier time justifying a scene like that if it is not bookended by memes.
And there is a lot of memes in this movie. Like every single Nicolas Cage movie meme you've ever seen comes from this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, like literally, I was thinking this whenever I was walking out of the studio. I was like, I think the only Nick Cage meme that was not in this movie is the shit from The Wicker Man.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, everything's here. The big eyes, didn't misfile anything, the teeth. I've seen this movie as GIFs, And again, we have over 20 years of hindsight with which we can indict the movie. 30 years even. And because I'm remembering how to do math in 2009 would have been 20 years. And it still feels like it's the 2010s. So we have that on our side, but that was hard. Dev, do you have anything? Because we've been going for a minute.
No, I just largely agree with everything you guys have said. The scene, especially upon the realization of what's officially happening, is kind of but why? I much rather like the idea of Alva being his first victim, or something along those lines.
First kill.
Yeah. I feel like that definitely would have been something that would have gone into I don't want to say the positive category I have for this movie, but it would have not been in the negative like it is now. I don't know. I think it's just like a choice that probably could have been like done better. But I don't know. I do kind of like how it's set up Alva's brother paying him a visit towards the end.
Yeah, and I think that's the. It becomes obvious that is the only function of that scene.
Yeah.
Is to set him on the warpath, which again, if and I know you're not advocating for the scene, Devin. I just want to reiterate, like how just as effectively just killing her is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and even then, and it. I'm defending fridging Alva at this point, but like even then, like you even give her brother agency as a character to have to figure it out on his own. Yeah. And granted, you know, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to go, she's been complaining about her boss. Here comes this fucking crazy guy soaked in blood running down the street screaming about being a vampire. Her throat was gouged out from the side. Holy shit, her boss killed her. Like, you know, it's, again, you don't have to be Batman or Sherlock Holmes to put that shit together. But like, even then, like you get to give him more to do than just be
at the gas station.
Yeah. Oh my, yeah, with the fucking gas station, auto parts store. We just use those terms interchangeably.
Yeah.
That was the most Tommy Wiseau shit in the movie. Like,
yeah, that was pretty fucking lazy.
Like them just going gas station and then slowly panning up to the auto parts shop stunned me. I was like, you and I in unison were like, what the fuck do you mean gas station? Anyway, but yeah, like it even gives him more to do than just be, again, like only other person of color in the movie just shows up to fucking kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like his only thing is I'm going to kill you now. So there's, all right. Are we done on this part?
I think so.
I would say so.
Okay.
This bitch.
Okay. Peter is the bitch.
He is the bitch.
Peter is the bitch. Are we ready for final thoughts and letter grade?
Yes, I still would like Boop say Rachel's real.
No, absolutely not. She's not
All
real.
right. Goddamn.
Yeah,
She's
I want to touch on this real quick. Devin, I need you to either shit or get off the pot right now with this. Are you falling on team everything actually happened? Because that is the side you have been advocating for like 20 minutes now without saying the words. And I'm going to need you to just accept that position as your own or not.
Fine. Then you know what? If they're hallucinations, then he's out of the building by the time they look at each other. So he probably shouldn't be able to hallucinate what they're doing out of his own sight line. So that means something was fucking going on. They definitely still slept together, and she did something to him, whether it was like stole his wallet or his watch or like got fucking anything. I don't fucking know. She wronged him in some way. They did sleep together.
Okay, so you and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
Because Devin, for a minute, and Boop as well. And Devin, because for a minute there, every time you go like, tell me Rachel's real, I can only speak for myself, but I think I'm speaking for Boop as well. It sounds like you're saying, so he's a fucking vampire, right?
It's not just that straightforward. It's like there's things alluding to either like confirmation of certain things happening or not. And then there's also just like the thing I like to do, which is reach, because like I didn't enjoy the movie that like, but like if this happened and it could happen, I would think I like it more. I want answers before I make
Devin
like,
is vampire pilled.
Devin
is my God. Pilled. Okay. The bat was real. Yes. There was a bat. Because there was another person that saw the bat.
One step at
However,
yeah.
Did he cut himself shaving or did he nick a mark that was already there?
I don't know. We saw him walking and taking the Band-Aid off, and I've never nicked myself in the form of like 2 teeth marks in the corner of my neck shaving. So like,
maybe you're not shaving right, man. I don't know. I didn't teach you how to shave.
I mean, he also like imagined whole ass people. He
Yeah, but, like, it
teleported
was
himself
him
into a completely
interacting-
different room.
It was
He
like
That's
went-
what vampires can do, man. Can I tell you my favorite part about this movie? That
I
is
would love
just,
for you to.
It delights me every single time I watch the scene. Like the running through the streets, having a conversation with an imaginary therapist. Absolutely fantastic. Love that.
Yeah, that was really like I
But
was
the
like
facts.
captivating as hell. I was like, in our minds, we're putting pieces together, and we're watching like pretty decent acting at like the
Exactly.
monologues.
Spectacular acting.
I was very on board.
The fact that he has the wooden plank under his arm
So
for that
good.
entire monologue.
It's clearly very important to him.
Oh, 100%. Like, if you got to bring it into your delusions, it's important. Like, I imagine
mean,
Cookie Cop is in every single
yeah.
one of Jared's delusions.
He's suicidal at that point.
I was gonna say not to.
This bitch.
Content warning again. I think that him in his delusion talking to his like imaginary new lover that he knows he's going to make leave him anyway. I think the giant plank is absolutely symbolic of the fact that he wants to end it all.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Which might be the most clever thing in this movie.
He's a man with a plan.
Certainly that.
This bitch.
Okay. I gotta make a
All right,
content
now we're
warning
ready.
slide. I gotta make a content warning slide. We can never
I like
let
this
that
one.
be. I don't know, man. Boop, as our guest,
Yes.
final thoughts and a letter grade for Vampire's Kiss.
I don't know, man. I think I've been pretty clear that I love this movie. It does have faults, pretty big faults. Like, don't get me wrong. I see the crater. It's there. I'm gonna step to the side and acknowledge it. But still, I think the first time I watched this movie, it was at such a time in my life where I needed something to cackle laughing at, that I was just like, this movie is the best thing I've ever seen in my life, and I need to consume more, because this was my second Nicolas Cage film. Gone in 60 Seconds was my first. It completely different, very wide gap, understandable. Yeah, I still find myself enjoying this movie quite a bit, and I'd give it a B-. If that's a grade that you can
Solid.
give out. Thank you.
Solid. Yeah. But Devin said solid.
Like I said, it's garbage, but I love garbage. Look at my friend group. Like, come on.
Devin, final thoughts on letter grade.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
Just making my case for me, man. Don't even have to say anything else.
No, you said no. Wow, entertained.
I interrupt you. The way you said that, just funny story you'll enjoy about Taylor. Whenever we first started talking and got together, it's connected to the clip I just played. Because of my fascination with assholes like Alex Jones and my religious listening to Knowledge Fight, she made a joke that whenever she told her friends about me, she said that the guy she was seeing listened to Alex Jones, and told me she phrased it that way, and watched me come unglued, because I was like, don't fucking tell your friends that. Please don't fucking tell your friends. No, I don't. I'm rooting against him. Like, no. And anyway, the way you were like, you're making your case, my case for me was very, I told him you watch Alex Jones. As you were saying, Devin.
Oh, it's good. That was nice.
Fuck Alex Jones.
I was so entertained, like 100%. I was like very invested in knowing what the plot was by the end of the movie. Like I needed to know. So like, there's a part of me that maybe since Vudu lets you rent stuff for 30 days, no free shout outs, but take it. And I don't know, maybe in like a week or two when I'm like really feeling myself or like I got like a good buzz going or something, I'll be like, hey Paige, my girlfriend, you want to watch something just like bonkers? And like,
Give
maybe
her no warning.
Exactly
Don't even
how I
say
told
no
my husband
warning.
that we were going to watch it for the
Absolutely
first
not.
time.
No, I don't know. I would love to hear or like watch someone else figure this out as well as me learning things along the way. I feel like that
I'm
once
making
more
Taylor watch this.
would make it
I'm
very
making her
entertaining.
watch this soon too. Don't worry.
Based
I
on
don't
me,
think-
want to see
yeah.
her face.
I don't think I'd want to rewatch it alone, but I would love showing it to people.
Absolutely, that's a great point. This is an amazing. Hey, y'all want to get mind fucked real quick type movie?
Yeah.
Now you know why I will not shut up about this movie. Because it is the best movie to show to someone else to gauge their reaction. It's this and Microwave Massacre. We'll talk later about
And,
Microwave Massacre.
Yeah. It's not a very long movie.
Shut up. The what?
Jared, there is a film called Microwave Massacre that is a slasher horror film centralized around a giant wall microwave. It's a cannibalism movie. The man who plays the original, or the main character, is the man who voiced Frosty the Snowman.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!
I'll send you a clip.
No.
If you ever need,
Yes.
I'm going out.
Garbage.
No, I don't want to see shit. You know why?
I'm the
'Cause we're
garbage
going in
man.
cold for next year, for April, for So Bad It's Good month. We're gonna save it. I don't want to know dick about
Yeah, I
that
don't wanna know
movie
jack-
until we watch it
Yeah,
next
Jack
year.
Hall. I don't want to know anything.
it's going to eat at your mind until you watch it. Promise.
Microwave Monster. Hell of a name.
Massacre.
Massacre.
Yes, Microwave Massacre, very important.
Still a great name.
It's
But,
made
like,
by the same people who made Frankenhooker.
Interesting.
I've interrupted you enough times, Devin. I'll let you finish your final thoughts and let it
Nah,
go
the
before I
movie.
walk into the fucking ocean.
The movie's gonna be like a D-, but I don't know. Like I said, like a part of me wants to like briefly torture, but also provide thought-provoking entertainment to the people close to me. Like I wouldn't show this movie to people I don't like. You know what I mean? I would show it to the people that I like, and I'd be like,
People that you trust.
Yeah.
I want you to experience this.
This is you've passed the vibe check a long time ago. Now we're about to become like blood brothers
Yeah,
type.
we will be
moment
bonded
here.
through Vampire's Kiss.
Like I said, I am the garbage man. I have a list of those movies, which I will gladly provide to anyone who asks.
I'm good.
I love
for
how
now.
Devin and I both went, well, Boop just became a mainstay of So Bad It's Good month from now on, didn't
Hell
they? Oh, fuck. I think this movie, one of my biggest complaints about a lot of movies across the board is tonal inconsistency. And how, at least the way my brain processes things that are quote unquote funny, which is very subjective for everybody, obviously, is that in movies that are very tonally inconsistent, the moment you have one moment, one line, one anything that completely breaks up the consistency of the movie's tone, I'm gone for a little bit. And I am at this point watching it like it's a comedy. If it's a serious movie that is abruptly, accidentally funny, I'm gone for a little bit. Perfect example. I saw Death on the Nile with Taylor for Vampires Day, Valentine's Day. God damn it.
Just can't focus on it. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep
I
going.
know.
Get the brain back.
There were so many random lines of dialogue, as well as the one that had become a meme with the, with enough champagne to fill the Nile line. Where like shit just kept happening that took me out of the movie repeatedly, where I'm now watching it like it's a shit post. This is the first time a movie has been this bonkers from shot one to the final frame that has kept me invested in its plot this intently. And like I said earlier, this movie tries to say something and then kind of gives up halfway through and lets Nick Cage shitpost through the rest of it. But it tries, and it does have something to say. It has its very glaring flaws beyond just the stuff that we talked about it in April for. So I'm going to land on a C- for Vampire's Kiss. Also, fun fact, the director drugged the pigeons.
Yes, he did, to make them easier to catch.
Yes. That is the funniest part of the audio commentary track, is Nick Cage going, I caught those pigeons, and the director going, no, you didn't. I drugged them. And then Nick Cage going, you what? And then the director going, did you actually think you were acting so good that you caught the pigeon? And Nick Cage was like, yeah.
I love Nick Cage as a person, just in general. He's one of my favorite people, and I have watched hours of interview footage with that man, and every time I'm just delighted by who he is as a human being. Questionable financial practices, but solid.
Hey, in his words, he stands by every single movie he's ever made, even the direct-to-video ones, and I respect
As do
that
I.
work ethic.
Hell yeah.
Same here. Willy's Wonderland is a fucking banger.
Mm.
So yeah. Next episode of Movie Club, we're gonna have another guest. It's gonna be Michael from All Remaining Systems, and we are gonna be talking about iconic bad movie and favorite bad movie of Ant-Man himself. We're talking Mac and Me, baby.
Good luck. This movie is at least a little bit redeemable. Mac and Me is just...
That's why I was like, oh yeah, like there's discourse about Vampire's Kiss. We'll be able to unpack that, and then we'll get to Mac and Me. It'll be fucking wild. But yeah, before I bring the train into the station here, Boop, one more time, where can the lovely people find you and what you do?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Boopenheim MEW. I am most often bullying my friends for fun and profit. Mostly fun. Not a lot of profit involved in that. You can also find me on the Nerdherder Podcast that we live stream every Friday night at about 9 p.m. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. And you can find us at Nerdherder, NRDHE. Yeah, I don't have to spell out the whole thing. You can guess on Twitter. There you go.
Absolutely. Go follow Boop. Go watch and subscribe to the things that Boop does, because Boop is fucking awesome and I love Boop.
You guys have low standards.
You're incorrect. You forget how many times I have had Jerry Cable on this show. Not on this show, but on the network. I shot across the bow up on that cast. They know what's up. They're gonna be on after Michael for Phantom Menace. It doesn't matter. Devin, friend.
You can follow me on Twitter at DevinArmel31 and Instagram at DevinJArmel. And you can see me here pretty often, the Nerd Academy podcast.
That's right.
Movie Club.
Goddamn right. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Give me $1! Thank you to our $10 alumnus, Nick Johnson. And speak of the devil, Alex Jones's QAnon horse ivermectin is Paco's name for this month. Housekeeping, like we said, end of So Bad It's Good month is going to be Mac and Me, and then May is, granted, every month is Star Wars month at the Nerd Academy. It's my first love. But May is Star Wars month. We are going to be talking about the prequel trilogy for Movie Club. We did the OT last year. We're doing the PT this year. So very excited for that. Like I said, Bombad Cast is going to be coming on to talk about the Phantom Menace. So buckle the fuck up for a 3-hour episode. And then in May for Star Wars Celebration, I will be live streaming all 4 days of Celebration. I will not be in attendance. I will be in this very studio to bring you guys the latest news per the panels, per everything that's happening, reaction videos. Plus, during the stream, we'll be getting call-ins from our lovely friends who will be in attendance at Anaheim on the convention floor. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm going to be absolutely throwing myself into all of that. I've already made like an ass load of thumbnails in preparation. I'm very, very excited for Celebration Weekend. I hope you guys join us. By the time this is out to the general public, these Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus Series live stream will have happened already, where we do our Season 2 tournament. And then jumping into May, we'll be back on track with making regular Versus Series content. Thank you all so very much for your patience on that front. I think that's all the housekeeping we have. Thank you all so very much for watching and listening. $10 patrons, you get the show a week early. $5 patrons and up, you get the audio commentary tracks. Again, for $5, you get to hear me laugh for 3 straight minutes during the Catwoman audio commentary, where I had what I can only describe as a psychotic break. It was an ugly laugh. I was wheezing. I was coughing. I laughed so hard I gagged.
It was wonderful.
And
I was beautiful.
I was weeping. There was snot. Obviously, you can't see it because audio commentary track. But Catwoman sent me straight to Jesus. I think that is my biggest laugh I've ever had on mic. So yeah, go check all of that stuff out. Go to the student store link on our website or on our link tree, where you can go check out our TeePublic.
tpublic.com.
So yeah, thank you all for watching, listening. Go check out the Nerdherder Podcast and cut.
Stop. Move away from the cookie jar.